All right, welcome back, everyone. So I want you to take a good look at that box right there. Because I'm going to say some of you say this vehicle's meant for carpet racing, and I would agree with that. The way it's set up, it's probably meant for carpet racing. But what does a picture of the box show? And plus, what does this say right here? It says waterproof ESC servo and receiver. So what does that insinuate? That insinuates you can drive it off-road. How about the picture on the side right here? It clearly shows this vehicle driving off-road. How about back here? Yeah, it shows this vehicle driving off-road. So this vehicle is not just meant for carpet racing, although it may be set up that way. And that's a fault of Losi and their engineers lacking some sort of direction, some sort of advanced thought, testing, what have you, or just flat out lazy. Some of you watched my 20+ minute long video, and you said it was driver error that was causing the problem, because some of you had your vehicle for X amount of time and it's never occurred any damage, but evidently you never drive it on anything other than a carpet. So shame on you for only watching 1 minute and 30 seconds of video and then thinking you know better. And that's a scary thought, because people like you go out there and vote for people like Joe Biden and cackling Kamala Harris, and you don't know fucking shit, right? Because you didn't take the time to research the information to get your knowledge. And others of you take the time to learn and to ask questions and to post a long, lengthy comment, and I appreciate that, and provide some useful insight. Really good stuff. So now to get to the point, before I splice together some video, because I had to edit out my daughter as much as I could from the video. So here you're looking at the stock, right? But, well, technically both of these are stock, except for the bumper. And, well, this one had the lower control arms replaced. But this is a look basically after one battery worth of use. Let me just try and zoom in a little bit right here. One battery worth of use. Right, and that's what I'm going to call it, but we still have battery juice left. We just got so dark out and the mosquitoes were eating us alive, and you can kind of see some wear patterns because I put white primer paint on here, right, to kind of show the indicators where it might be hitting, where it might not be hitting, and so on and so forth. And we can clearly see that the original stock setup is creating a lot of wear on the critical points. Whereas this setup here, you may think it's the front bumper that's protecting it. It does add some protection, but it's actually the way I relocated the suspension to give it more ride height, right? Much more ride height. This allows the suspension to do more work before bottoming out, right? And obviously the lowest point right here under suspension compression is going to be the point that touches first, as indicated by the paint being removed in one spot right there at least, and some on the front bumper where it hit on the nose. Now this car will go off a ramp nicely if you're at full throttle and you keep it at full throttle till you just hit the ground, right? It will do that. But if you're going mid throttle, and it will usually go nose first. If you're going light throttle, it'll go nose first, despite everything being centrally balanced. And unfortunately, because it's not brushless, you can't control any of the attitude of the car when it's in the air. So there's a side view of the ride height difference. Probably not that noticeable, but if you Losi should do this as a factory option, or RPM if you happen to be watching, make shock towers that have the location right here and right here, and then this will be the race setup up here. So backyard bashing setup, race setup. Right? This is how your factory Losi comes, is from up here, and this is the area I mounted the shocks, in this area right here. Just take everything apart, stick it in there, and slide it up as high as it will go, and then tighten everything back down. On the rear side, it's a little bit different story. All right, I actually had to use the appropriate size drill bit and drill a hole in here. And as you can see, it's different up here. We use a factory hole, so this would be the race setup. This should be the backyard basher setup. This should be a factory default option on the Losi product. Now, shame on the engineers or Losi or the desk jockey, whoever it is that designed this shit. Now, here's some running video.
No scratches, fresh coat of white paint. This is a brand new one, unmodified, no suspension modifications. Totally stock, brand new, never run before. I did set the steering trim a little bit. Okay, so right now I'm not seeing anything significant off that first jump, so we're going to take it down. Original. I did hit the chassis that time, or it sounded like it did. We've got a slight little scratch, maybe hard to discern that there. On the back side it's hit. I'm not seeing anything on the control arms yet. Oh yes, I am. Right in there. I don't know how discernible that is, but there's a wear pattern right there and a wear pattern right there. So it's not taking much. Now let's bring in the other one. So on this one, I'm not seeing anything at all other than scrapes on the bumper and some light scraping on the rear side right there. Again, here's the new one, and you can barely see right here where the tip of my finger is. That little black mark right there. Let's run it a few more times and see what happens. Which one is this one? That's the new one. Nothing really to complain about right now. that brings the point across. Let's take a close look at them. So modified one, and got a slight bit of suspension damage, or at least wear marks on that side, a little bit there, and we got some scraping, of course, but for some reason it seems to be jumping all right today. I don't know what the heck the difference is, but before it was liking to land on its nose. This one here is definitely worn through a shiny spot. Let's see, you can kind of see that on the rear side. We got some scrapes there, and we got a lot of suspension damage right there. So user error, no, not at all. This is just not designed, you know, for backyard use, front yard use, what have you. But modifying the suspension so they sit higher, gives you a little more travel, a little more wiggle room before damage occurs. And plus, the front bumper is actually going to help you protect a little bit better as well. And I even have the thicker RPM lower control arms on there. So I hope somebody somewhere gets something out of that. This should have been a factory option to set it up like I did. Simply lowered where the shock's mounted. I tilted them in as far as they go. Just relocating them so that way you get more suspension travel overall. These ones here are kind of more up. Almost. Now go back to the modified one.
Almost.
The tires are definitely more grippy. Right between my arms.